After leaving Beirut, we arrived at the city port of Sidon an hour later. We would have got there earlier, but we got lost in Beirut city. We know the city as Sidon, but the locals call it Cedar, which is Sidon in Arabic. Sidon was settled some 6,000 to 7,000 years ago. In the book of Genesis chapter 10, Sidon is referred to as the firstborn of Canaan, the town's founder. In the 14th and 15th centuries, it was an important trade centre with links to Egypt. Today, the modern seaport has a population of 170,000. The sea castle was built by the Crusaders in 1228 and is one of many coastal castles built by them. This castle was destroyed by the Mamluks but was restored in the 17th century by Fakhiddin. It's also got a mosque from the Ottoman period.
You want to put your feet into the Mediterranean?
Not at this particular point of the Mediterranean. Thank you very much though.
€5 please.
Look at all the fish.
Anything?
No, I'll have to look. Tyre maybe.
Drink's nice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If I could open it. They have a strange way of
Southern Lebanon is less visited because it's the stronghold of the Hezbollah organisation. The area is a lot poorer due to political conflicts. Since 2006, Israel and Hezbollah have been having a go at each other. In fact, 2 weeks before we left New Zealand, there was a border skirmish in which Lebanese soldiers were killed. For these reasons and many others, it wasn't recommended we go down there, but we did anyway. So, as tourists, we had the place to ourselves. Western media portray Hezbollah as terrorists, but to the locals here, they're heroes fighting against the evil Israel. Hezbollah is funded by Syria and Iran. On arriving in Tyre, our first mission was to look around the enormous Al-Bas archaeological site.
This is the real McCoy. Who is this guy McCoy anyway? Walking down the Roman road. Right here in, where are we again?
Tyre.
Oh yeah, Lebanon, Tyre. Oop, what happened?
Someone biting me.
Hope we don't get malaria. Probably got it already. Heading our way down to the Roman Arch and then the aqueduct and the hippodrome.
The wander up the road to the monumental archway takes you through a vast funerary complex. There are just coffins everywhere. This huge triple bay monumental archway was originally the gateway to the Roman town and dates back almost 2,000 years to 200 AD. The partly reconstructed Roman hippodrome is the largest and best preserved in the world. It's 480 metres long and formerly seated 20,000 people. At the time, it accommodated some of the most popular and dangerous chariot races at the time. The course included high-speed turns that produced dramatic spills and collisions. The course was marked by stones called metai, and you can still see these stones in the ground even today. Modern Tyre has a population of 150,000 and dates back 5,000 years when the founders of Sidon came down to establish a new port. In 1800 BCE, Tyre was conquered by the 18th Egyptian dynasty. Later, in 1000 BCE, Abiel took over rule of Tyre, and then his son Hiram I succeeded him in 969 BCE and forged close relations with the Hebrew kings Solomon and David. Hiram sent cedar wood and skilled workers to help construct the famed temple in Jerusalem, as well as large amounts of gold. In return, he received control of 20 towns in the district of Galilee. We could prattle on all night about the history of Tyre, but my mum says I have to go to bed in a minute. We then moved on to the Almina archaeological site in the old part of Tyre, which lies on the peninsula jutting out into the sea. The main street into the site is called Mosaic Street.
I'm able to walk on these 10,000-year-old mosaics.
They're not 10,000 years.
How old are they?
Probably 2.
Oh, 2,000. Oh well, only divide by 5. I exaggerate anyway.
In Arabic, Tyre is called Sur, so while we would say Sidon and Tyre, they would say Seder and Sur. Tyre is a World Heritage Site. This part of Tyre was once an island, but in order to conquer it, Alexander the Great built a causeway out to it, and this was all prophesied to happen in the Bible book of Ezekiel. In fact, as well as the Greeks, all the big names have ruled Tyre: the Assyrians, the Babylonians in 586 BCE, King Nebuchadnezzar, the Romans, the Arabs, the Crusaders, the Mamluks, the Israelis, and now Hezbollah. I can hear my mother telling me it's time for bed again.
Watch out for sharks. Watch out for sharks.
Yeah.
Two-legged ones.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll be €5, please. Beautiful here, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
nice. Just got water up my pants. It's the town of Tyre in the background. Beaches. It's a great resort, and just further down the valley there we're into Israel and the border and the conflict.
Also, we could see the Mount Carmel mentioned in the Bible 50 kilometres away. By the way, Lebanon has the highest per capita of Mercedes-Benzes in the world. Baalbek, the sun city of the ancient world, is home to the most impressive ancient site in Lebanon, and arguably the most important Roman site in the Middle East. The ancient city has long enjoyed a reputation as one of the wonders of the world, and mystics still attribute special powers to the courtyard complex. Its temples were built on an extravagant scale that outshone anything in Rome, and the town became a centre of worship well into the Christian era.
It's gunfire you can hear in the distance. Good place to die, I suppose. You're at a temple already.
Gunshots were in fact in celebration of the end of Ramadan. As our driver Ahmed would say, Ramadan finish, now can to eat. A tour of the temple consists of the main entrance, the forecourt, the hexagonal court, the great court, the temple of Jupiter, the 6 standing columns, the medieval citadel, the temple of Bacchus, and finally the museum. The site is only a couple of 100 meters across, so you can see it comfortably in an hour. In 1984, it was declared a World Heritage Site. Baalbek was originally Phoenician, and settlement here is thought to have dated back 5,000 years ago. A temple was built here and dedicated to the god Baal, from which the city takes its name. Heaps of famous people have been involved with Baalbek over the years. Alexander the Great, Pompey the Great, Julius Caesar, Nero in AD 60, Antonius Pius in 138 AD, Constantine the Great in 324 AD, then the Muslims, the Ottomans in 1600 AD, and then later the Turks, the Germans, the French, and now Stephen Lillian Chong in 2010. The Temple of Bacchus is the most beautifully decorated temple in the Roman world and was completed around 150 AD.
You scared?
What was the gunfire in this huge place?
The temple is larger than the Parthenon in Athens, and some 100,000 slaves worked on the temple projects in the area. The columns and building blocks are the largest we've ever seen. Some weigh over 1,000 tons. The museum, as well as displaying magnificent examples of mosaics, also records the human sacrifices made by the worshippers of Baal, as also reported in the Bible. Next, a quick stop by the Temple of Venus, where the Canaanite goddess Astarte was worshipped. Then a quick look at some shops, then some refreshments, which consisted of traditional Syrian tea, and then it was a walk down the road past a magnificent mosque to see the largest cut stone in the world. The Sheikh Abdullah quarry, from where the stones for building the Baalbek temple came from, lies just 900 metres away. This 1,000-ton stone never made it to the temple site. Locals call it the stone of the pregnant woman, meaning that if a woman touches it, they will increase their chances of becoming pregnant.
Don't, whatever you do, touch it. Don't touch it.
Why not?
Do not touch it.
You think I might knock it over? Don't push it over.
Yeah, don't push it over, okay? Just when you think you've seen everything,
I reckon.
there's just something. This is just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it.
That night, accommodation was tight due to the end of Ramadan, so we had to stay in a pension. What a bathroom! The shower, with no curtain, was right up against the hot water cylinder. Modern Baalbek has a population of 32,000 and is a mix of Muslim and Christian, so it made a change to wake up to the sound of bells rather than amplified Muslim prayer calls. It's a very conservative town, and so as not to offend anyone, even men should not wear shorts or t-shirts, but I did anyway. That morning we were treated like royalty to a personalised delicious breakfast which included toasted unleavened bread with cheese. The setting looked like it was from the 18th century Orient Express, except for the computers and the radio.
2,588 metres. So thanks Philip Chong for your GPS. This is incredible. Oh.
It's got a really nice roasted taste.
We come all this way for the olive trees.
Yeah.
And guess
Lebanon,
what?
The Lebanon.
The Lebanon ones. And
the Lebanon olive trees.
yes, exactly. In other words, the cedars.
Yeah.
But guess what?
We don't see any.
There's nothing here.
Might have been sold a pup.
There are
trees here.
peanut salads though, or whatever they are. What are they?
All kinds of nuts.
Oh, yeah, well you'd go nuts here anyway, wouldn't you? Living in the desert.
Quite tasty nuts.
Yeah.
In ancient times, these mountains were covered in cedar trees. The timber was exploited by the Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians and Phoenicians. The Egyptians used them for shipbuilding. Solomon used them for the construction of the first temple in Jerusalem, and the Ottoman Empire used them for railway construction. Trees in this area live for between 1 and 2,000 years and grow to a height of 120 feet. They're mentioned in the Bible 75 times. This is the last remaining stand and all that is left of the ancient trees of 2,000 years ago. While we would say a stand of cedar trees, Ahmed, due to the language barrier, referred to them as olive trees. Trees rise. It took us a while to get across what we wanted to see, but eventually we got there. The trees are under armed military guard, so we didn't think about taking them.
Looking at you, I can read your mind. I am the maker of rules, dealing with fools. I can cheat you blind. I can read your mind. Looking at you, I can read your mind. Looking at you, I can read your mind. Looking at you, I can.
The border crossing back into Syria had its moments. The immigration officer wanted to know what hotel we stayed at the previous night. Of course, we had no idea as we couldn't read Arabic. He wouldn't let us into Syria without knowing, so I had to scroll through hundreds of photos, and just by chance I happened to have a photo of the name of the hotel and its telephone number. Anyway, Ahmed was furious, and he said, "That man is a donkey." And after that, every time we saw a donkey, we pointed at it and said, "There's a candidate for an immigration officer." We had no idea how insulting it is to call someone a donkey in Arabic, until 1 year later, during the Syrian uprising against the government, a photo appeared of President Bashar al-Assad with his face removed and the face of a donkey photoshopped onto his body. By 2:30 PM that day, we had crossed the border and we're back at Crack Castle to continue on for the final phase of our Syrian adventure.